What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Steelers Breakdown Podcast. Nick Faribault here as always. We're getting the inside scoop on some of these Steelers draft picks from some people, and we are welcoming in a guest that I've known for a while. I'm really happy to connect with him, Brently Weissman. How you doing, Brently?
Nick, man, doing great. Appreciate you asking me to join the pod. Excited to talk about one of my favorite players, Derrick Harmon. Man, congrats on you guys drafting him.
Yeah, Derrick Harmon. I know a lot of Steelers fans are excited. For people that don't know Brentley, his resume speaks for itself. Former NFL scout, has worked at Oregon. He's an Oregon fan. We got the inside scoop on him here, and so really, I just kind of want to ask you first of all, when you watch the tape of Derrick Harmon, and you also watched him week to week, so you kind of have
Yep.
this inside consistency level. I think that's really the interesting part about this is you've seen him every week, plus watch the tape in depth. What stuck out to you about Derrick Harmon's game just from watching him live, and then when you dove into the tape, what did you really appreciate more about him that you can't see on the live TV tape?
Yeah, I mean, I will say watching him week to week on just the live kind of on broadcasts, one thing that is very evident is just how disruptive he is. I mean, like talking about an interior defensive lineman playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, both against the run and the pass. That's Derek Harmon. I mean, he's quick off the ball, really explosive, and knows how to shoot gaps and penetrate. It's just really eye opening. And then certainly when you dive into the all 22 tape, you really get an appreciation for the guy's body control, his hand use, his ability to anger against double teams. Like he's a total package and everything you want in an interior defensive lineman. He is long, he's strong, he's explosive. He has a really good array of pass rush moves. I mean, this guy is a rock solid player. And certainly, and again, I'm an Oregon fan. I watch every snap multiple times. He also played his best against the best competition. That Ohio State game, I mean, he ripped the ball out, caused a fumble, which really was a turning point in the game. Dominated against Michigan, was phenomenal against Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. This guy is just a big time player who knows when to step up when it matters. And I can't think of a better team, better coach, better kind of atmosphere than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would be shocked if this guy doesn't turn out to be at worst, multi-time Pro Bowler. He's that good, and the Steelers are that good of a defense.
Yeah, he fits what they do well. I mean, he gets to learn under Cam Hayward. He told us during his press conference with us that he models his game after Cam. I think there's more to it in there than Cam, but kind of talk to me about that dynamic, how you think that's going to work. Just being able, you've been in NFL organizations, so you've seen vets take these young guys under their wings, and what do you think a guy like Cam Hayward can do for a guy like Derek Harmon who has that upside and that athleticism?
I mean, Cam Hayward's I mean, he's easily one of the top, most well respected pros in the business. So certainly, I cannot think of any better role model for Derek Harmon than Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward to me, I mean, he's going to see just a really exciting young prospect who also is really humble. He's really grounded. He's been around the block. I think he's a 50-year college player. Did transfer from Michigan State. So he's really a seasoned vet, and I think he's going to come in and be a pro right away. And that's something that the Oregon coaches, when Harmon transferred, they were blown away by his professionalism and his ability to come in as a transfer and kind of take a leadership position on the defense. A defense that had Jordan Birch, Mateo Ungalale, Jalal Muhammad, a bunch of kind of marquee players. And Harmon came in the spring and was immediately a team leader. Like I think that speaks to his intangibles. And so when I think Cam Hayward, when he sees that, come OTAs, come training camp, I think Hayward's going to naturally gravitate towards that and really want to put him under his wing. And I think the defensive line is such a unique position because it's not like Harmon's coming in to take Hayward's spot, right? Or anything like that. You're able to rotate guys in, mix and match personnel on the defensive line. So it's not as contentious as like a wide receiver room or a running back room where, rookie is coming in and taking the vet snaps. Like sometimes in those situations, the vet doesn't want to really, put the player under their arm. But defensive line, when all these players see so many snaps in the rotation, I really think Hayward's just going to be really motivated and excited to put him under his arm and really try to help develop him.
Yeah, I know the Steelers wanted to draft their mentor, mentee type thing. I know when Hayward came in, it was Brett Kiesel giving him the pointers, and obviously, look how that turned out. So Harmon's a guy. I mean, you watch his tape; he's hot. The motor is hot. He's obviously a disruptive presence. He's pretty good, honestly, in run defense too. He's kind of this full package of guy. But if you had to kind of look at his tape and say, these are the things I'd like to see Derrick Harmon improve upon. Just where do you think the shortcomings are going to be early for him in his NFL career, where he needs to take the next step to go from just being good to being, as you mentioned, that multi-time Pro Bowler, that force of nature next to Keanu Benton in the future for the Steelers?
Yeah, I think it's clear there's one to me aspect of his game that needs improvement, and it's his ability to find the football consistently. There's so many times in Oregon games where I swear Derek Harmon wins so quick off the snap, but he cannot find the football, or he cannot finish. Or a lot of backs break his tackles, which is surprising because he's so big and long. You would think he'd be able to wrap the guy up, but there's so many instances where he has a clear shot at the running back, but he misses, or the running back simply just is able to break his tackle. So I think try to put it broadly, his ability to finish. I think that needs to improve. If he would finish 10% more than he did last year at Oregon, we're talking about an all-time season for defensive lineman. I mean, truly, like, it was pretty jarring how many times, how many plays he had the opportunity to make the play in the backfield, but simply missed for whatever reason. Whether that's lack of kind of instincts and miss the running back, or he was too off balance and trying to corral the back in the backfield, whatever that may be. But if he's able to finish at just a more consistent rate, we're talking about a dominant player. I truly believe so, because physically, quickness, length, power, like, truly is everything you want. But just a little more consistency finishing the play. Talk about, you're going to get a hell of a player.
I think his missed tackle rate was almost near 30%. I mean, that's
It,
crazy
it,
for a defensive line.
it was truly jarring, honestly. And again, like, coming from a guy who I'm speaking so highly of Harmon, because again, like, the talent is undeniable,
Yep.
but truly, he missed so many tackles in the backfield. Like, if he converted half of those, it's like an Indomitian Sue level type of dominant, like, type of season, like, truly. And so I think if he can clean that up, you guys are going to be a great player.
It's interesting because I feel like Keanu Benton is the same issue. He's in the backfield all the time. He
Yeah,
doesn't finish, and it's the most frustrating thing. I feel like that's been the MO of his game. I watched Harmon's and I said, "Man, I love this guy's tape. He just needs to finish." But
yeah.
I love this guy's tape. I love the makeup of him. I love the character that they're getting in him. So I did want to kind of talk to you just about his fit in the AFC North. I mean, the Steelers are coming off a game, obviously, where they lost the Ravens that allowed 299 on the ground to Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. That's something that they really emphasized here. Talk to me in depth, specifically about Derrick's run defense, how good he is at kind of taking on doubles and things like that. You see it on tape, but where does he really excel in that four-eye spot, really, that four-eye three area on the defensive line?
Yeah, he's just so quick. He's so quick off the ball. It's really hard for offensive linemen to square him up with their hands and really get a clean punch on their frame, on his frame. He's just so fast. He's agile. Really good hand use, in my opinion, to try to keep his body clear when the offensive linemen try to initiate contact at the point of attack. I do think where he gets in trouble is, there are times where he plays with high pad level. That leaves him susceptible to kind of getting drive blocks and things like that, getting kind of washed out of the gap. That's something that in the AFC North, where you have kind of big, rugged offensive linemen, in Baltimore, even in Cleveland, like, teams that want to run the football, he'll need to kind of firm that up, make sure he plays with a more wider base, really kind of get his power and his anchor in his lower half, and not play so high. But his length, his ability to kind of set a firm anchor, utilizing his length, keeping the distance between his chest and the offensive lineman is really important. But certainly his quickness, his ability to win with his hands, he's going to make a ton of plays for you in the run game, without a doubt. In the backfield, he'll win, be able to make plays, behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to be there. But it's the down consistency. Will he be able to kind of hold up against doubles in the NFL? I do think he's able to. Physically, he has it. But I think he just needs to work on, keeping the pad level lower, working with a wider base, and making sure you can really kind of set an anchor in his lower half.
Yeah, so Steelers probably project him to play a 4-eye and base
Yeah,
across from Cam Hayward, keep bending the nose, and then he'll be in that rotation with the 3-eye, the three
yeah.
tech one in the sub packages they run. I do want to kind of ask about Derek's specific expectations as a rookie. Obviously, he's coming into a room where he's going to have there's other guys that are going to carry attention, right? I mean, you have Highsmith, you have Watt, you have Hayward, you have Benton, so it's a really good room. What do you feel like in year one? And then moving forward, what do you think the kind of the realistic career arc for him is? Where do you think he goes his rookie year? And then how do you think he should grow each year, trying to become that best version of himself?
Yeah, no, I mean he's definitely going into a loaded, kind of front seven or whatever you want to call it. I know you guys ran. I think you guys are on a 3-4 front. Um, Certainly, I think Derrick Harmon. He's got. Look, you draft him at 21st overall. I mean, clearly they valued him. I think that's very, very evident, especially in this class. Whether you're picking, they could have been a lot of ways, right? I mean, I think they definitely value the talent of Derrick Harmon. I'd be shocked if he wasn't immediately contending to start in a role. I think that's really when you draft a player, a defensive tackle, like you don't draft a defensive tackle in 21 overall to make him ride the pine. That's not today's NFL. So certainly I think he'll be heavily focused in the rotation, whether that's a 4-eye, three, just in the mix. He's gonna be in the rotation. I think, early on, I think those splash plays are probably where he's gonna hang his hat, being disruptive, winning off the ball quickly, getting in the backfield, both versus run and pass. I think that's where he'll probably make his mark, at least early on in the season, while he maybe not an every down player. But I think come week 11, week 12, I'd be floored if he's not, an every down starter and making a contribution. I think long term, again, I mean, you're talking to a guy. Yeah, I'm clearly biased, but you're talking to a guy who believes in the talent and upside of Derrick Harmon. I think, he may not be Jalen Carter, right? But like, there's no reason why he can't be in that maybe very, very next echelon of the young defensive tackles in the NFL. I know the Steelers with their kind of odd front, he may be playing more 4-eye and not necessarily three. And the 4-eye, you're not necessarily asked to penetrate. You're more asked to kind of hold gaps and kind of free up the linebackers. But however, I mean, the opportunity's gonna be there for him, and the talent is there. And I think there's without a doubt. I mean, he can be 7 to 8 sack guy playing inside. I mean, that you kill for that.
Yeah.
You want that, and I think there's no reason why you can't be that, especially at the rate that NFL teams pass. He's gonna get his opportunities, and he's disruptive, explosive in his long. So good luck to offensive linemen, offensive guards, because I think his quickness inside is going to be a nightmare for them.
Yeah, you mentioned his quickness. This was an interesting question I've had from Steelers fans because he only did the 40 at the combine, didn't follow it up at his pro day. Do you see the first step explosiveness? Do you see do you see the ability to kind of corner on the tight angle? Sometimes he has to bend there. Do you see the athleticism pop, even though he didn't do the broad, he didn't do the vert, he didn't do any of that. So some people look at that and say, is the athleticism really there on tape? I think it is, but I'm curious what you think about that.
Yeah, yeah. To answer your question, yes, I absolutely see the quickness, the ability to corner and tight edges. I mean, I think he's a really loose and fluid athlete for the man his size. Like that to me was just evident from the minute I watched him week 1 against Idaho. It's like his quickness off the ball was just remarkable. He won so fast. Like it was just wow. It was really impressive. And in terms of not working out the combine, you never know. You don't know if he's was dealing with an injury or what kind of advice his agents were giving him. I mean, you gotta imagine he had a pretty good idea where he was in terms of his draft stock. And oftentimes for these top prospects, you can really only hurt yourself at times, right? And so you might have gotten good advice for all we know, not doing the agility and things like that. And obviously, Oregon had a long season. He played, throughout the college ball playoff, and so who knows where his body was? He might have been recovering, and so I wouldn't put too much stock into that. If I was a Steelers fan, I'd really kind of trust the tape and also trust your team, trust your organization. I mean, I can't recall many Steelers defensive draft picks that have been complete busts, especially in the front seven on the defensive line. I think they kind of know what they're doing, and I think again, Derrick Harmon, his mindset, his physicality, the way he plays the game, like he is born to be a Steeler. If it wasn't going to be a Steeler, he would have been a Raven. Like
Yeah.
he was going to be one of those two teams. That just is the ethos of Derrick Harmon. And yeah, I'm really, really happy that he's with the gold and black. I mean, you guys are gonna love him.
Yeah, I mean, the one test he did do, I mean, he ran a 4.9540 with a 1.74 10 yard. I mean, that's pretty good. You talk about
For
his
his
length.
size, that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, he did it at 6'4" and a half, 313. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And you mentioned the length. I mean, 34 and 3/8 inch arms. I mean, he is long. There's no doubt about it. That's Cam Hayward too, right? Cam went with that long arm, that bull rush combo. This was a guy to me, and Brentley, when I watched him on tape, I watched him for the first time just before the Senior Bowl. He popped out to me, and I said, "This is a Steeler four-eye. Like this looks
Mhm.
like a Steeler defensive lineman." If he wasn't going to be Steeler, he was going to be Raven, or he was going to be, a Lion, someone like that DNA type. This is what Derek Harmon brings to the table to me. One last question I kind of wanted to ask you about Derek. When you think about him week to week, just kind of thinking about moments you had throughout the year, what stood out to you the most about Derek's game? Maybe it was a moment, maybe it was even, just seeing, like hearing about things about his character. What stood out to you about Derek that maybe people don't know about enough, or goes like underdeveloped or underappreciated?
Yeah, I think for me, it's really like he showed a lot of growth from week one to the end of the season, and he's always been really talented. I think, and I didn't know much about him. Again, I was telling you kind of off before we started. Like I didn't follow the transfer portal, and I don't mind the weeds like that. And so week one against Idaho, this 55 defensive tackle is making all of these plays. I'm like, who is this guy? Look him up. It's Derek Harmon, transfer Michigan State, yada yada yada. And throughout this season, he just kept getting better. And that was against Idaho. Then fast forward October 12th against Ohio State, biggest game in Austin history. We're down. We needed a big play. Derek Harmon just burst through the line of scrimmage. And I think it might have been Judkins, just ripped the ball out of his Junkins' hands, fumble recovery, just got it with the football, and in those biggest moments, he always just felt like he delivered. Against Wisconsin, we were on the road. We were down. We was maybe not down, but we were very close. We're number one team, and we were looking at a massive upset. Derek Harmon took that game over. I mean, truly took it over because Wisconsin couldn't pass. They couldn't pass the football, so they had to run. And Derek Harmon said, "Yeah, you guys aren't running on me." And Derek Harmon just consistently lived across the line of scrimmage. And so I think like he played like he knew his role was to win the game. Whatever the moment called for, he answered. And that was really appreciative, especially for Oregon fans who aren't used to having good defensive tackles. I mean, like, it's been a long time since we had Buckner and Armstead. It's been over 10 years. And to have that level of faith and have that level of like Derek Harmon's not going to let teams run over us. Like that was a good feeling to have, and he's just a bona fide on a team full of future NFL first round picks. Derek Harmon was, you felt Derek Harmon, and I think that's gonna carry over into the NFL.
That speaks enough volumes. I think they're getting a really good player here. I love Derek Harmon. Brentley, tell them where they can follow you, read your stuff, all that jazz.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter or X, I think they now call it Brently12. That's my first name, 1 2. I am contributing over at PFSN. I'm going to be doing a lot of content for them over summer, some summer scouting, getting into the 2026 class, all of that good stuff, and yeah,
2026 quarterback class, pretty important for Pittsburgh. So make sure to read Brentley's.
yeah,
It's going to be big.
might be.
Yeah, it's gonna be big for Pittsburgh. I have a hunch. I have a hunch. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, guys, on the video. We got more coming. We're learning more about the Steelers draft picks. We'll learn about Caleb Johnson, Will Howard, Jack Sawyer, YA Black, all those guys here in the coming days. Thanks for watching, everybody.